Hi everyone, it's Bill from Crooked Acres. Welcome back to the Homestead. So what I'm working on this week is getting the garden ready for winter. So what we have to do is basically pull all the plants up so we can get our weed fabric up and out for the winter. I know I have seen others that leave their weed fabric in for the duration of the winter and then pull it up and do what they have to do with it in the spring, but I personally like to get mine up in the fall for two reasons. A, I don't have to worry about it in the spring. It's one less thing to do when it's really busy time of the year. And second is I like Mother Nature to do its thing on the soil all winter long. So that's why I take it up. So we're working on that. Well, I'll show you what we've got going on here. So basically all the corn's pulled out. I've raked up all the old watermelon vines, old cabbage plants, torn everything out, got big piles. So our tomato plants are pretty much done for the season. I've pulled a few out already, but what I do have is I do have a bunch of green tomatoes that don't look too bad. Some of them are pretty rotted out and are cracking and so forth, but I want to try an experiment that I've seen. So I'm going to pick about a half dozen green ones that are in good shape, and I'll take you inside and show you what I'm going to try and do to get them to ripen. And we'll see together how it turns out. All right, so I picked the tomatoes. I brought them into the kitchen here. I've got 11 full-size tomatoes, and I picked a bowl of cherry tomatoes. We're gonna try a little experiment that I've seen. So basically, during the summer when it's hotter and there's sun out, tomatoes and all fruits for that matter produce ethylene gas, and that's what helps them ripen, or that's what makes them ripen. Once the weather cools or you get a frost, that chemical reaction ceases, so they will never ripen on the vine out there. They'll just rot away. So we're going to try and fabricate some ethylene gas in a bag here. I'll show you how to get these to ripen. So basically I'm going to take these big tomatoes. Now when you pick these, from what I'm told, you're supposed to leave the stem on them. So in our little experiment here, I've got two that don't have the stem on them. So at the end of this, we'll see if these turn out any different than the ones that do have the stems on them. Because they say if you cut the stem off, the tomato could rot rather than ripen. So I guess we'll find out at the end if that's the case or not. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to place them into a paper bag. I'm going to try and lay them out so they are flat in there and not one on top of each other. You can take a look in there. That way they can get full air. Now, like I said, all fruits produce this ethylene gas, but three fruits in particular, pears, apples, and bananas, produce this in large amounts. So we're going to put this banana in with the tomatoes, just set it on top. And as this banana does its nature thing of producing ethylene gas, it's going to help speed up the ripening of these tomatoes. So we're going to place that banana in there. And we're going to go ahead and fold this up. Then we're going to place that in a coolish place for a couple days. 50 to 70 degrees. I'll throw it in the basement, and then we'll check it in a couple days. We'll see how it goes, and we'll give you the update. See if this works. So with the cherry tomatoes, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put them in a smaller bag, but I'm not going to add a banana to these ones. So that way we can kind of test the difference, how these ones ripened with the banana versus these ones without a banana. And they're smaller, so I don't know if that makes a difference or not. In our little experiment, we'll find out. And again, tomatoes do produce their own ethylene gas, so it's not like we need the banana. So we're going to put them in there. And then same thing, I'm just going to roll up the top. Leave a little air in each one of them. It's not super tight. And I'll bring it back in a couple days. I'll check the progress and we'll see how it goes. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and tear these tomato plants out, get the cages set aside. I showed you we got some tomatoes in some bags, trying to create some ethylene gas and ripen them up inside. We'll check them in another day here or so, but I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and I'll bring you back. All right, so I've got all the tomatoes pulled out. I got them in piles. I'll get the tractor over here and we'll get those cleaned up. But there was way more tomatoes left on these plants than I even saw the other day when I was picking. Maybe I would have picked a few more, but to be completely honest, I'm so tomatoed out. We had a bumper crop, and there's got to be a couple hundred of them laying there yet too. But next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run up to the barn. I'm gonna get a basket. I'm gonna go through and pick some of these peppers, and then whenever I don't pick, we're just gonna call it season, because again, bumper crop, and I can't even tell you how many dozens and dozens and dozens of pounds frozen already. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and I'll show you how we make out. All right, so I got all the pepper plants pulled out, stacked up. Again, I'm gonna get the tractor over here, get that cleaned up. I ended up picking two more baskets full. That whole basket there is full of Mamma Mia sweet peppers, and there's a few bell peppers tossed in there. This one's got sweet peppers on top, but underneath that top layer, that is full of poblanos. So 2 baskets, hopefully we'll work on them before they go bad. I've got tons and tons and tons frozen, so we'll just eat on those till they do. So what I'm gonna do next is, like I said, get this raked, get these piles picked up, get them out of here, and then we can start taking up the weed fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll bring you back after that is complete. All right, everyone, so I'm back in the garden. I got them piles cleaned up, got them all out of here. So I've started pulling up the weed fabric. You can see underneath, it gives, once you pull it up, it's all matted and all that. That's why I did the soil. That's why I like to take it up and let Mother Nature pound on it all winter. You know, it's gonna be 9 months before we put something back in it here in my part of New York. So we're gonna continue taking this up. I'll show you what I use. I use this little 4-prong rake. If you're going to use the weed fabric and these staples, this is going to save your back a whole lot. So maybe pick one of these up, maybe one that's better condition than the one I got, but I keep repairing it. So I'll show you how we do that, how we pull the staples up, and we'll take it from there.
All right, so again, I take my prong rake, I put it under my staple there, just give it a little kick, wedge it up, and you can pull it right up and out of the ground in hand, throw it in a bucket. It's going to save your back a lot of work and a lot of time and effort. So I'm going to continue to work my way down. We're going to maybe get another row out here before we call it a day. We're going to go deer hunting this afternoon. It's opening day of the crossbow season here where I'm located in Western New York. So we're only going to hack at this for a little while longer, and we're going to get out there, and hopefully I'll be able to show you some results later on. Stay tuned. Thanks. All right, so I came in real quick. We're going to check the tomatoes from our little experiment before I head out there hunting. It's been 4 days since we threw them in the bags, and we showed you that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open them up, I'm going to take a little look, see if this worked, see if 4 days was long enough, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to open the cherry tomatoes first. I'm going to take a little look in there, and I'm going to tell you they're not really that red. I got a few that are turning maybe orange, but there's only a couple. The vast majority are still green. They're solid, they're not rotting, so maybe I'll seal them up, give them another 3-4 days, and we'll see what happens. So, like I said, an experiment. Now the bigger ones, these ones do not look good at all. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna keep these. The banana seems like it's in fine shape, but these tomatoes are all, they're rotting, they're not changing colors. You can see, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and trash that whole bag. I don't really know what happened there, but that's even growing some kind of mold around it. It's pretty nasty. So if any of y'all do this at home, try to ripen green tomatoes, let me know what I did wrong, if I need to do something different, and I guess we'll try again next year. But these full-size ones are going in the trash. The cherries, I'll keep a few more days and see what happens. Well, there it is, that's our experiment. All right, so I took a break from putting the garden to bed for the winter to do a little hunting with the crossbow. I'm not a huge hunter. I do like to go out a few times, but apparently I picked the right night tonight. Got this beautiful, we're gonna call it a 10 point. It's probably a 9 because it's got a busted off tine up there. But as you can see, it's a huge bodied deer. I'm super psyched to get it. Tomorrow we'll start processing. So for now, we're done with the garden until probably later this week. We'll bring it back when we get back to it, but much happier to get this guy than to finish up the garden. If you like our videos, please subscribe, hit like. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.